It's more than 9 months since floods and cyclones battered Queensland, but the fallout is still being felt in communities and the natural environment. Dugongs and turtles have been hard hit and are dying in record numbers along the coast. The Queensland Government believes the animal populations will recover, but others aren't so sure about their long-term prospects, as John Taylor reports from Brisbane.
For thousands of years, sea turtles have swum along the Queensland coast. Lumbering on land, in the water, they are liberated. These turtles are actually in a hospital on the Gold Coast, but they are the lucky ones.
We're seeing an approximate doubling from the previous year in numbers of dugong and turtle that we're seeing die off the coast.
While in Gladstone, debate continues about the effects of dredging. Elsewhere, floods and cyclones that battered Queensland last summer are to blame. Just as homes were damaged, so too were seagrass beds under the water, almost from the tip of the state to the New South Wales border. And turtles and dugongs mainly eat seagrass.
We've had all this silt plume go out and cover the seagrass, and as you know, it needs to photosynthesise, it can't do that, and so the seagrass has died right back. In many areas it's actually been lost completely.
And we're finding that when we catch the dugong and turtle, we're finding that they have, instead of seagrass in their stomachs, they have things like mangroves or algae in their stomachs.
Many turtles and dugongs have starved to death. This dead baby was found off Townsville. Weakened creatures have also fallen victim to boat strikes and fishing nets. Nearly 1,000 turtles and 170 dugongs have died. Dugongs are a vulnerable species. This was an expedition into Brisbane's Moreton Bay earlier this year. It's just some of the scientific work happening to monitor dugongs' health and long-term survival. How worrying is it for the species that so many dugongs have died this year?
It is a very high number. We think that this has occurred previously. We in fact have data from other locations where this has occurred post-flooding. And we don't think the species will decline overall. We don't think we're going to be seeing a species extinction or anything even close. But we think that the population will recover in subsequent years of good rainfall.
Far more turtles than dugongs have died this year. But while the animals are more abundant, they're not less important. For months, these turtles have been in the care of SeaWorld's Turtle Hospital.
Nice catch.
We've had one that had a boat strike. There was one amongst that group that was a floater, which is an animal that has an intestinal problem, so it can't get to the bottom to eat, and obviously they get hit by boats. And then there was another one that was just simply washed up on the beach. It was in very poor condition.
Veterinary treatment and good food have done their job. Today is a big day. 4 are now well enough to go home.
Well, just a little green turtle. You can see the tags on there, which we have. This animal's double tagged, so we can easily identify if it comes back in again. If it gets up on a beach or anything, we know straight away that it's one of our animals from here.
It's off to Moreton Bay for these little ones. But a lingering question of survival faces Queensland's turtles and dugongs. Are these record numbers of deaths going to continue?
They will probably continue for the remainder of the year and possibly early into next year, depending on how much rainfall we get. We're really waiting to see the seagrass recover.
That's a good turtle spot?
Yes, good green spot all through here.
All these shallow banks have got seagrass in and around them, and there's marine park zones all through here as well.
Trevor Long is SeaWorld's Director of Marine Sciences. He's more muted about the future. Are you worried it's the beginning of a trend?
Look, I am worried actually. I think that as we're seeing changes with climate change, these type of events may become more common. And that's why I think we need to act now. I think that we need to be trialling pilot programs. We need to be looking at ways, especially with dugong. Is there a way that we can supplementary feed many of these animals?
We don't really think it's the beginning of a trend. We think that it's been a one-off event. We don't have floods this size every year. It's been a one-off event.
Even so, more dugongs and turtles are expected to die this year. But for this turtle, there's been a happy ending, and he was free again to swim the Queensland coast. How does it feel when you see him go?
Awesome. It's fantastic.
No, it is a good feeling, especially when they've been there for such a long time.
John Taylor reporting.